All right, today we're touching the third rail of theology. We're talking about the most hated man in human history, the guy whose name is synonymous with snake, traitor, and backstabber. Judas Iscariot, the man who sold God for 30 pieces of silver. It's a heavy topic, so why are we going there? Because the math doesn't add up. Think about it. The central pillar of Christianity is that Jesus had to die. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. If that death was a divine requirement for the salvation of humanity, then someone had to pull the trigger. Without Judas, there's no crucifixion, and without the crucifixion, there's no resurrection. If the sacrifice was inevitable, then the betrayer was actually the most important supporting actor in the play. He was the necessary evil. But what if he wasn't evil at all? What if he was the only one brave enough to do the dirty work so the rest of us could be saved? That's a massive what if, I know. But it turns the whole story of the New Testament upside down. It suggests that Judas wasn't a victim of greed, but a victim of destiny. And it gets crazier. There's a text, a lost gospel, that was found in a cave in Egypt. It's called the Gospel of Judas. And in this version, Judas isn't the villain. He's the hero. He's the only disciple who actually gets it. If you're listening to this and you've ever felt like the black sheep of your family, or like you were forced into a role you didn't want just to keep things moving, stay with us. We're going to look at the Bible, Gnosticism, and the shadow side of heroism to find out if Judas is actually sitting on a throne we never knew existed. Let's look at the standard Bible story first. Jesus knows he's going to be betrayed. He literally points at Judas during dinner and says, "What you are about to do quickly." That's the part that always got me. If Jesus is God and God is all-knowing, then he chose Judas knowing exactly what would happen. He didn't try to stop him. He didn't try to save Judas from his sin. He encouraged him. It feels like a setup. If I tell you to go buy milk, and then I get mad at you for spending money on milk, am I being fair? Jesus needed the Milky Way to the cross. He needed someone to bridge the gap between his ministry and his execution. In many mystical traditions, and even in some left-hand path witchcraft, Judas is seen as the archetype of the scapegoat, someone who carries the sins of the community into the wilderness so the community can survive. But here's the wound. The church taught us that Judas was possessed by Satan. They taught us he hanged himself in despair. They used him as a warning. Don't be like Judas. But if God loved the world so much that he planned this, then God needed Judas to be exactly who he was. Think about the pressure on that man to be the one person in history responsible for killing God so that God could save everyone else. That's not a villain's job, that's a martyr's job. But why the silver? Why the kiss? If he was a hero, why the drama? Maybe because the world wasn't ready for a hero who wears a mask of betrayal. Maybe the kiss wasn't a sign of treachery, but a final goodbye to a brother. Let's look at the text that actually explains this. Let's talk about the Gospel of Judas. In 1978, a leather-bound papyrus was found in Middle Egypt. It's called the Codex Judas. It wasn't written by Judas himself, but by Gnostic Christians in the 2nd century who believed the other apostles were, well, kind of clueless. Yeah, the Gnostics didn't hold back. In their view, the other disciples worshipped a lesser god, a creator who liked rules and sacrifices. But Judas understood the true spirit. I want to read a part of this. Imagine Jesus and the disciples are together and the disciples are praying. Jesus starts laughing at them. They get offended, but look at what happens next. The disciples said to him, "Master, why are you laughing at our prayer?" He answered and said to them, "I am not laughing at you. You are not doing this because of your own will, but because it is through this that your God will be praised." They said, "Master, you are the Son of our God." Jesus said to them, "How do you know me? Truly I say to you, no generation of the people that are among you will know me." He's basically telling them they don't even know who he is. They're stuck in the system. But then Judas stands up. He doesn't back down. Judas said to him, "I know who you are and where you have come from. You are from the immortal realm of Barbello, and I am not worthy to utter the name of the one who has sent you." See, Judas is the only one who recognizes Jesus' true origin, not from the creator God, but from the infinite source. And because of that, Jesus takes him aside. This is the mind-blowing part. Jesus tells Judas, "Step away from the others, and I shall tell you the mysteries of the kingdom. It is possible for you to reach it, but you will grieve a great deal." And then comes the command, the one that changes everything. "But you will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me." You will sacrifice the man that clothes me. He's telling Judas to help him die. He's saying, "Kill this physical body so I can be free." Judas wasn't betraying Jesus. He was assisting him. He was the only one strong enough to help his master commit divine suicide for the sake of a higher purpose. Can you imagine the burden? To be told by the person you love most, "I need you to destroy me so I can become who I truly am. And the world will hate you for it forever, but I will love you for it." That's a level of loyalty that a good person couldn't handle. It takes a shadow hero to accept eternal infamy just to fulfill a friend's destiny. This brings us to a really uncomfortable place. If Judas was a hero because he did something bad for a good reason, what does that say about our own lives? It says that the hero's journey isn't always about shining armor and applause. Sometimes being a hero means playing the villain in someone else's story. It means being the necessary evil that forces growth. We see this in witchcraft and high magic all the time, the concept of the adversary. You can't have light without a shadow to define it. If everyone is nice, nothing ever changes. We need the Judas energy to break the status quo. Here's the lesson for the listeners. Maybe you're carrying a lot of guilt because you had to betray someone's expectations. Maybe you had to leave a job, a marriage, or a religion, and everyone called you a traitor. But look at Judas. If he had stayed loyal and nice, Jesus would have just been another preacher who grew old and died. The betrayal was the catalyst for the miracle. Your betrayal might be the catalyst for your own resurrection. Sometimes you have to burn a bridge to keep from standing on it when it collapses. Judas didn't sell his soul for silver. He sold his reputation for the truth. So, was Judas a hero? In the standard story, he's a tragic warning. In the Gnostic story, he's the ultimate initiate. But in the real story, the one that happens in the heart, he's the guy who did what had to be done, even when it cost him everything. It makes you look at that kiss differently, doesn't it? It wasn't a mark of death. It was a seal of a secret pact. We've gone deep today, from the pews of the church to the sands of Egypt. If this conversation flipped a switch in your head, We want to hear about it. Do you believe in necessary evils? Have you ever had to be the Judas in your own life to move forward? Drop a comment below with the word unbound. If you're ready to see past the labels of good and evil, subscribe and stick with us.